Hello, and welcome to both of my friends. So glad you're here. I'm an avid quilter and also have a borderline unhealthy interest in true crime. So watch me make a quilt block while I tell you a story, a true story. I'd also like to dedicate this to the great Bill Curtis. If you know, you know. This is a story about the Pan family. Han and Dick Pan had two kids in the 80s, Jennifer and Felix. Their children excelled at everything. Jennifer got straight A's, began playing the piano at age 4. She was even a 2010 Olympic hopeful. The Pans were thrifty and worked hard and created great lives for their family. A nice big home in Markham, a Lexus, and a BMW. In late 2010, Jennifer was a pharmacist and Felix was away studying at university. Jennifer lived at home with her parents. Now, on November 8th, Jennifer was just getting into bed. Han was on the computer, and Bick arrived home from line dancing with friends. Suddenly, 3 men burst into the home, wielding guns and yelling for money. They ransacked the home and tied Jennifer to the banister on the stairs. They led Han and Bick to the basement at gunpoint. Moments later, multiple shots rang out. The 3 men left as quickly as they came in. Panicking, Jennifer was able to get to her phone from her back pocket and call 911. You can search and hear the 911 call if that's your thing. As she's asking for help and telling the operator what happened, you can hear her father yelling for help in the background. As he gets up the stairs, does he go to Jennifer and free her from her binds? No, he runs straight out the front door. Bick was shot twice and died immediately. Han was shot in the shoulder and in the face, and he was in a coma, and Jennifer thankfully was unharmed. Police brought her in to get information so they could search for the killers. They had so many questions. What was the motive? The killers got some money, but the keys for their Lexus and BMW were in plain sight. Also, why kill the parents but leave Jennifer alone? They didn't want any witnesses. Why not kill all 3? Police also didn't feel the killers were very prepared. A couple of days pass, and miraculously, Han wakes up and remembers everything. The police hang on every word, and he mentions 2 curious things. First, Jennifer wasn't tied up as she was led around the home. Second, according to Han, she spoke to the intruders like a friend. He stopped short of any accusations. At this point, Jennifer had been interviewed over a couple of days for several hours. Her story more or less stayed the same, but police ended up with more questions than answers. They started digging. They spoke to more friends and family to learn about Jennifer and the dynamic in the Pan home. They learned that back in high school, Jennifer's grades began falling to average. Now, most parents would still be proud, but the expectation in the Pan home was much higher. So instead of being honest, Jennifer forged her report card to straight A's. She wasn't allowed to date, but that did not stop her from meeting a boy named Daniel Wong, and secretly, the pair began hanging out. She ended up failing and not being able to graduate from high school, but she never told the truth and just continued the lie, and her parents never knew. She told her parents she won scholarships to go to university. She continued living at home, forging grades and certificates. She purchased school books and would even go to the library and fill notebooks with relevant course information. All this time, she continued to date Daniel Wong. When it was time for her to graduate from pharmacy school, she told her parents she was only given 1 ticket to graduation, and because she didn't want to choose between her parents, she gave it to a friend. Okay, that is not suspicious at all. She told her parents she was working at the children's hospital. They started having questions. She was coming home without a uniform and without a badge. They followed her to work, and ultimately, they learned her secret. She came clean about everything, all the way back to not graduating high school. Her father wanted her out of the house, but after some convincing from Bick, they allowed her to stay. But she wasn't allowed to have her phone. They monitored her computer activity, and she had to get her diploma. However, she decided this wasn't what she wanted. Did she leave? Run away? No. She and her boyfriend devised a plan. They started discussing how much easier it would be without her parents in her life, and how much money they stood to make. Daniel gathered some friends, and they got her a burner phone so she could communicate with them. The night of the murders, Jennifer waited until her dad was settled in the computer room and her mom came home from line dancing. Jennifer flipped a light off and on to indicate she was ready as her friends waited outside. She crept downstairs and unlocked the door for her parents' killers. Jennifer, Wong, and their accomplices are now locked away for a long time. Her dad and brother requested she not be allowed to contact them, and that wish was granted. She is also not allowed any contact with Daniel Wong. This story is so tragic and shocking that she felt the only way out of her lives was to kill her parents. It's incomprehensible. Well, I'd like to end with some wise words from the great Keith Morrison. It was a beautiful Saturday morning. Or was it? I'm hoping to continue this series weekly. I've included sources and a little more about me in the notes. I would love if you do what your kids YouTubers say, if you could like, subscribe, all those things. I don't know how it helps, but I know it helps. So thank you so much.